Okay, welcome to Kung Fu Havoc number 2. My name is Echo Fang Grey Wolf. So, here's what's going to happen. If you see my prep show, we're going to do this. But I'm going to change the plan. I'm only going to make this one video. In this video, we will Indigenous erasure and self-hatred of black people. Alright? So, on the one hand, because it's black people doing this Indigenous erasure shit on my TikTok page, my FYP, and black people just keep showing up. Now, before you get upset if you're black, it's not all black people. It's just this tiny minority bit of black people that's on TikTok preaching their gospel of how Egypt is in America. There's a Stargate in the Grand Canyon, and I call it a Stargate because it's the only thing I can reference to as a teleportation portal, because you can't use Star Trek because that's in space and they beam you up, although Captain Curtis never said, "Beam me up, Scotty." I'm giving it all she's got, Captain! But, that's fantasy. Stargate is the closest thing that we can have on Earth, where we uncover a portal on Earth that can take us across the universe. Alright? So, and Stargate Atlantis was a great show. Wish they'd, give it a Stargate movie like they did with, Farscape. Anyway, irrelevant. What is relevant is that you got these people who are black who are doing indigenous erasure, telling us that Egypt is in America, the Nile River is the Mississippi River, and in case y'all don't know, the Nile River runs in reverse. It doesn't run south, it runs north. So unless that's a lie too, that's what we're going with. And then you have a lot of other people who are standing up but not standing up enough. And then we're going to go with the second half of this video being about the self-hatred that black people have towards themselves. Alright? So before we go any further, let me apologize to the 251 of you who are going to suffer through this video. Alright? Just let me apologize to you now, because it's not fair that I put this here and make you suffer. I wouldn't have to put this here, but TikTok has took away our 10-minute videos, only to replace them with some shit called STEM. I have no idea what the fuck that shit is. I don't plan on using it unless somebody teaches me what it is. But again, not relevant, but what is relevant, which is why we're making this fucking video. I was going to make 2 separate videos, but I decided to just make one gigantic ass video about indigenous native erasure and the self-hatred that the black people hold towards ourselves. Alright? Now remember, it's not all black people. It is a small minority of black people who hate ourselves so much that we decided we want to take away another people's culture. So without further ado, let me get my tea, let me get some chips, and then let me start talking. My plate. My tea. I'm thinking on retiring my cup because it's staining. And I didn't want it to stain, so I think I'm going to retire this cup and put it in the shed and keep it safe, because it's an original cup from the Dollar Tree and I can never find another one. And they've never done any other cups like it. I have those goblets. I know you're thinking, what the fuck does this have to do with anything, Echo? But it's my favorite cup. And I don't want to have anything happen to it. So that's that. We're going to let these chips be the starting point of me gaining fucking weight. Okay, just so that you didn't think I was crazy. Alright, so, as I said, on TikTok, there's a lot of indigenous erasure going on. Now, before we go jumping down the black people's throats, there were some white people doing it at first on TikTok, but it wasn't that bad, The white people that were doing it were doing cultural appreciation or cultural appropriation, which was still bad. And that started midway between my second year of being on TikTok. It eventually died down. There were still white people running around wearing native regalia and sometimes stealing it from powwows and shit like that. and selling it online, which one, stealing is a crime. So you're stealing native regalia and you're posting it online and selling it. First, ow, bit my tongue. Ow. First, shame on you. And second, y'all can get a good laugh at that facial expression because it was priceless. Anyway, as of the last 3 to 4 months, the black people, this small group, have stepped it up. And they literally have stepped it up. They stood up, start having all these lives of all this science and all this shit, trying to debunk the transatlantic slave trade. Okay? So, they're saying the slave trade worked in reverse. That everybody that is the descendant of a slave came from America and were dragged to Africa. Now, not counting South America, not counting Canada, just counting the U.S. alone, there are more black people in Africa than in the U.S. alone. Now, if you count South America, and you count Canada, and you count America, including Mexico, all the way down, or the entire Turtle Island, you may have a thing there. However, corn is indigenous to America, not to Africa. Now, understand, as a mixed person, I would never tell anybody to throw away one part of their heritage for the other. I would never tell a mixed person to deny one part of their heritage for the other. Now, don't do that. Accept who you are. But these young black people, they're denying their African heritage. They're saying they have no African ancestry, etc., etc. As always, I'm not here to change your mind. I don't give a shit what you believe. I give a shit that you're fucking up. And that you're literally telling Native Americans they are not Native Americans. Now, I'm going to say some factual bullshit. Make sure you heard that. Factual bullshit. It's fact that I know it as a fact, but it doesn't mean it's not true. It is said that the only other place that black people originated from was Australia and Africa. That's it. Now, truth being told, there's an out of Africa theory where all life began in Africa and everybody migrated over. I'm going with that. Because that would explain how everyone on Earth has at least 1% of African DNA. At least 1%. Now, before we go any further, let me explain how a mix works. Alright? Because I'm not a half-breed. I am a hybrid. I'm going to explain that where everybody get their panties in a bunch. My mother and my father were half-breeds. Technically, my mother was a hybrid. Alright? Because her father was a half-breed. Her father was half black and half white. He looked more like a white man with a tan. That's why my mom looks like a white woman. Alright? She is very white passing, very white presenting. I lost her in a crowd of white people. Her mother is just a tad bit darker than me. She was adopted and raised black, but she's part native or all native. We're not sure. But you do know she was raised by a black woman. She's never had black hair or black features. Okay? Which is why she's the enigma of the gene pool in the family. Now, on my daddy's side, my daddy's dad's all black. All black. No ifs, no ands, no buts about it. He's all black. He's also dead, just like my dad, but he's all black. Now, my dad's mom, Native American. It's questionable if she's full-blooded or she's a half-breed because she's brown like me. Her mom is Native American. Charlestown. Very, very light. Like off-white light. Not light enough to be white, but light enough to be like a white person with a tan. See the complication? So all of them have babies. Their two babies meet, and they make me. So my heritage is Native, black and white on my mama's side, Native and black on my daddy's side. Therefore, being a hybrid, because like I said to y'all, I'm pretty sure my DNA said that I was like 97% white man. I'm going to have to find that shit and bring it up. But on a side note, Ancestry just updated shit and I didn't answer the email. So I'm going to have to check that out. But I'm also planning on doing a 23andMe after I get my shit together and after I pay for my fucking car insurance. Car inspection. Because I asked Ancestry. Because I have, there's like my white DNA, which is the most. Then my black DNA. And then there's another section of DNA. It's like mystery DNA. Alright, so I literally called and said, hey, look, you got to find my native DNA. Because that's the only reason why I really took the test. To see how much native I got. Because I'm on my reconnecting journey. And I need this damn DNA test so that I can give it to the BIA. I also need to get a genealogy done so I can give it to the BIA. So that I can be enrolled in a native fucking thing. But what the BIA also told me was, even if I was 50% native, because I wasn't attached to a tribe, I have to have a native tribe adopt me in. Which is why I need to write a letter to the Chickahominy tribe and write a letter to see who I can reach in the Cherokee Nation and which band of Cherokee Nation, because I don't know shit. You understand? You understand why this is important? So, these black people on Native TikTok who are not indigenous but keep saying we're not the real Native Americans, they don't believe in the DNA test. Alright? They believe in genealogy, but they don't believe in the DNA test. Now, here's my thing. I believe in the DNA test, and I also believe in the genealogy. One can be wrong, and the other can be right. They both can be wrong, and they both can be right. Now, geographically, genealogy speaking, I know my great-grandmother on my father's side is buried in Charles City. I googled Charles City. There's a video here, which, the Chickahominy tribe is in Charles City. Because I was worried about not being Cherokee because of the Trail of Tears. Then I seen a movie about the Trail of Tears, which says that the Cherokee were actually in Virginia. They were from Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, up to Virginia. Yeah, I did that in reverse, but should have said Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia. When the Trail of Tears came, they weren't one of the only tribes that got shoved off in towards Oklahoma. Other Other natives got sent off too. The Seminole got pushed down. Other tribes got pushed away, and somehow or another, the Chickahominy managed to have Charles City. All right. Then the Rappahannock and the Tappahannock, which are also tribes in Richmond. All right. Mannequin or Monacan, Mohawk. There are other tribes here in America. Wait, I didn't push that. Hold on. Yeah. That was an accident. I was trying to make a video for my YouTube channel about Indigenous erasure. I was trying to get off your dang blasted thing. If you could boot me, that would be great. But I do thank you. I don't know how to get out. Thank you for having me. Oh man. All right. Sorry, that was on one of the other people who were doing Indigenous erasure. Um, that was a complete accident. I was trying to not be on anybody's shit. Well, here we go. Shout out to that young man. We're not going to give his name because I don't want him to have any legal ramifications for anything that I say. But thank you, brother, for having me, even though I wasn't trying to get on. He's a black person fighting against Indigenous erasure. That's all you need to know. He's a black person fighting against Indigenous erasure. And that being said, there are a small fraction of black people trying to erase Indigenous people, like completely trying to erase us off the map. Now, as I said, the Chickahominy, the Rappahannock, the Tappahannock, the Seminole, the Powhatan, those are all up here in Virginia, all right? And the Seminole got forced downwards towards Florida. The Apache got forced from where they were towards Florida. You see all the movement and the migrations. I do not know if the Kiowa still exist, but we can Google that shit. We can try to Google that shit. Because, Kiowa got a helicopter named after them for the military, along with a couple of other. Are there any remains of the Kiowa Native American tribe?
Here is some information for, is Kiowa a federally recognized tribe? According to Wikipedia, today, they are federally recognized as Kiowa Indian Tribe of Oklahoma with headquarters in Carnegie, Oklahoma.
Yeah, everything got moved to Oklahoma. Wonder why. Is the Cherokee Nation in Oklahoma?
According to Wikipedia, the Cherokee Nation, also known as the Cherokee Nation of Oklahoma, is the largest of 3 Cherokee federally recognized tribes in the United States.
You understand how much problems this is, and that being said, you have to you sometimes have to clarify some shit, and these young people, they bring up the Cherokee, they bring up the Chickasaw, they bring up a whole lot of other damn it, I don't know why this phone does that shit. They bring up a whole lot of other native tribes, but then they don't bring up like traditions and things like that. And I don't know what the hell is going on with this damn thing. My God. They bring up a whole lot of stuff. Alright? And it's kind of ridiculous that they do that, but they do. And this martial art girl is distracting me. I don't need the music. But I do need to follow her because I do follow martial artists, especially the young people. I don't follow the children. Yeah, she's hot. Do I follow her? Yes, I do. Okay. Getting off of freaking Facebook, Instagram, wherever the fuck I am, getting off of that shit. Going back to TikTok. Alright. The thing is, started off with the white cats doing it, and then the black cats started doing it. They started having all these lives and started putting all kinds of shit out there, and people are going to believe what they want, and I'm not here to change your mind. However, like I said, with the transatlantic slave trade, they're saying that all of the fake Indians all were out west, and all of the black people, the original people, were here on the East Coast, and they was thriving and surviving. Now, history will show that, yes, Native Americans also had slaves, and that some Native Americans were slaves. And there's been some back and forth about how many missing and murdered indigenous women were there, and how many um, other tribes before Columbus even let settlers get to America, how many slaves he took from the islands that he actually landed on. So with that, there were all kinds of shit going on. Now, then they were saying that the Mayans, the Incans, and the Aztecs were all black people. All right, it gets more complicated, and there's going to be a lot of people who are going to see this video who are of Mexican descent. A lot of Mexicans were Mayans, Incans, and Aztecs. All right, a lot of South American natives were also Mayans, Incans, and Aztecs. All right. Now my geographic might be a little bit off, but I'm pretty sure that most of the Mayans, Incans, and Aztecs were in South America. Again, I could be wrong. I don't have a problem being wrong. I have a problem with this is the history that I was told. All right. Whether it's true or not is the problem. Same thing with the Earth being flat or the Earth being round. I'm down with Earth being round. I do not give a shit about these flat earthers and this flat earth enthusiastic crap. But I'm also not going around saying that the earth is flat. I seen the movie, damn it. The fuck is it? This is a Kiefer Sutherland movie about aliens that took a bulk of humanity and used them as an experiment in outer space. And they had this power called tuning. Damn it. I gotta Google it now. God damn it. What is the Kiefer Sutherland movie where they are in space and he's a doctor? No, not flat. Dark City. So I've seen the movie Dark City. I think a couple of people who started the flat Earth theory maybe watched Dark City one too many times and got their mind scrambled. And Dark City was the Matrix before the Matrix existed. So, in case you're wondering if we're living in the Matrix, you should probably, if you watch the Matrix, you'll like Dark City. Right? So you wanna see that. It's also based on a comic book, I believe. I want to say it's a Dark Horse comic, but I'm not gonna swear to it. Let's find out though. Is the movie Dark City based on a Dark Horse comic book? Listed the television films based on a Dark Horse comic publications. This thing says the TV series and future films based on Dark Horse comics, Sin City and Dimension Films. Dark City is a film of neo-noir science fiction, film directed by Alex, some name I can't pronounce, starring Rufus Swell, William Hurt, and Kiefer Sutherland. So it is not based on a Dark Horse comic, apparently. I guess it's just based on whatever that guy's imagination is. But Dark Horse has great comics. Let me see. What does it say? Dark Horse, the full movie? I don't want to watch it. I don't want to watch it. And I did just say Dark City had to influence The Matrix. This film was nominated for the Hugo Award, Best Dramatic Presentation of a Sixth Saturn Award. Some of the critics later noted Dark City, similar to the influence of the Matrix film series, whose first installment came out a year later, and this film is widely considered a sci-fi cult classic. I swear Dark City came out way before The Matrix. This says 1998. I don't remember what year The Matrix came out. What year did The Matrix come out?
In the United States of America, The Matrix was released on March 31st, 1999.
Okay, I'm a victim of the Mandela effect because I know full fucking well in 1998 I saw Dark City way before that. I saw Dark City like in 88, 89. So I'm definitely a member of the Mandela effect. The same thing I said the same thing about losing the lead singer of Queen, Freddie Mercury. So we're just gonna leave that there. But the point being made is that this small group of black people don't like being black. They are so against being black, it ain't even fucking funny. Alright? And the thing is, I've had to attempt to prove my blackness to black people all my motherfucking life. And there are people like me with the same issue. Tiger Woods, The Rock, a lot of other biracial people, they had to do it. Now, like I said, I'm a hybrid because both my parents and probably one or two of my grandparents were mixed. So, regardless of what my DNA is going to prove, my DNA is going to prove that I am a hybrid. And again, apparently I'm a white man, but we're not going to go there because you can look and tell that I'm not a white man. So, people will have a legitimate reason to question the DNA because they're like, well, this thing says he's white. Like 90 some odd percent white. Or at least 75 or 85% white. The numbers don't match out, but let's just say apparently I might be a white man. So you can question the DNA. I have to question the DNA. But then when you look at my mom and you look at her father, you probably can't question my DNA. Now, and that's what I have to chalk it up to. That they may have breeded the native right on out of us. But anyway, I hate corn. I know you're all thinking you're part native. How do you hate corn? I hate corn. Trust me, I hate corn. My great-grandmother on my father's side and my grandmother, her daughter, put corn in pancakes. Yeah, so I hate corn. And you're not going to leave that table, young man, until those pancakes are gone. And that corn better be gone, too. And we didn't have dogs. So I couldn't just feed the corn to the dogs. Yeah, I'm going to reset this phone because it's not, doesn't have the host on it. Now, the thing is that, these videos have popped up on my FYP for way too long. They popped on there before GalaxyCon, and because of GalaxyCon, I was more focused on everything involving me being Peter Parker or Ben Reilly, and but everything being me being Miguel O'Hara. But it didn't start pissing me off until like last month. Then it really started pissing me off where I got to the point of I'm getting angry. And every time I turned around, there was some women arguing about not being native, leaving her name out. She had the balls to say that Native Americans, there was a training school, and I think the host just ended his live. That wasn't what I was hoping for. Unless he blocked me. Okay, he ended the live. Anyway, she had the nutsack to say that Native Americans went to training school versus them being residential schools. So, I'm sitting here like, it took everything I could not to call this woman a four-legged dog. Literally took everything I could not to call this woman a bee. I try not to use that word as suffer. Like some women have earned that spot with me, and those women deserve every bit of it, every freaking bit of it. But doesn't make me better than them. Just makes sure it shows like my ignorance. But owning that ignorance, no, they're on my FYP every day, every fucking day. The so-called natives, the so-called natives, the so-called natives. But we're the original natives. We don't do ceremonies and shit on our channels though. We don't show powwows. We don't talk about missing and murdered people. We don't talk about getting the land back. We don't talk about protecting the water protectors. We don't talk about the Native American rights activists. We don't try to free Leonard Peltier. We don't do any of that shit because we leave that to the fake natives. It's pretty much what they're doing. And they're making black people look really, really bad. And there are some black people and some mixed natives that are native and black. Call them out on it. Calling them out on that shit. So when they get on the TV. When they get on the cell phone and they start talking, they get on the video chat and they start squawking and talking about all kinds of other shit. And it just goes on and on and on and on. And it never stops. It literally never stops. And these young black people who just refuse to accept any part of them being black just keep rubbing this shit in. Just keep rubbing it in. Rubbing it in. Rubbing it in. Sorry. It's almost time for my midnight snack. We're having it a little early, but it's almost time for my midnight snack. In fact, let me make sure I put this damn clock to bed. Where's the alarm clock? There we go. So that this doesn't interrupt the video. Everything else can stay. No. Everything else can stay. Anyway, so they're on my FYP. They're on live. They're talking. They're hating Native Americans left and right. They're pitching out pseudoscience. Now I know Native Americans come in different shades and colors. There are light natives. There are dark natives. And there are people like me in between. No. Now, despite the fact there's a little bit of native infighting, which I've made videos here about, which I've made videos there about, not much has changed. But there has been an increase on indigenous erasure. And almost every native that has been fighting it has been banned or blocked. They've been going at people harder than they went after Modern Warrior. And it sucks. Because I'm part native. And I'm also part black. And for some reason, these fuckers don't like being black. Like, literally. They don't like being black. Now, before I go into the detail about self-hatred amongst black people, let me tell you my story and the hatred that I have received from black people. And this is the thing. This is why people always say that mixed kids have identity crisis. We generally don't until we go to school. Like, if mixed kids were homeschooled, they wouldn't know shit. Don't take that the wrong way. They wouldn't know what racism is until they got out amongst people. Alright? Because I didn't know what racism was until like maybe the 3rd or 4th grade. No, let me take that back. I think I knew what racism was really in the 1st and 2nd grade. I just chose to ignore it as best I could. But it wasn't until the 3rd or 4th grade that I truly knew what it was. Now, the reason why I take it back is because I brought this up before, so I'm going to bring it up again as we transition from indigenous erasure into self-hatred of black people, by black people. And we're going to keep going, and I'm probably going to jump back and forth because this is only at the 30-minute mark. Young black girls used to tell me all the time, I'm never going to be black enough. I'm never going to be good enough for black girls. I'm never going to be able to have a black wife. I'm never going to be able to satisfy a black girl, etc., etc. I'll be right back. I gotta go get some more tea. as I was saying, I tried to be black. For the bulk of my life, I tried to be black. I literally did everything I could to be black. I dated dark girls. I dated red bone girls. And every girl, and these are like grade school dates, so they don't really count. They counted for us. But as adults, they don't really count. Alright? And each one of these girls would tell me all the time, specifically to L. Turner and S. Williams. These young ladies were the main two focal points of me hating myself for being black. They were probably mixed too because they were as light as me. Especially S. Williams, no relation. So, they would always tell me all the time, you're a half-breed. You're a half-breed. We don't have places for half-breeds. We don't date half-breeds. Half-breeds are never going to be good enough for us. You're a half-breed. You're a half-breed. Hi, half-breed. This is when I learned reverse racism. Remember, I said I really wanted to be black. I really wanted to be black. You couldn't tell me I wasn't black. We grew up in a black neighborhood. People in my family are different colors of brown. They raised in the country. They raised black. Country black. So, you couldn't tell us we wasn't black. However, wasn't good enough. By the time I reached the 4th grade, and after the white girl called me the N-word, and I bust her lip, I still regret that shit to this day. But I stopped having interest in black girls after that. By the time we got out of high school, I had been dating black girls. Grade school, girls wouldn't give me a first look, let alone a second look. I was always the cute one that could be their little brother, but that's it. And they still hated mixed breeds. Every fucking day. Half-breed this, half-breed that. After a while, goes in, goes out. And then there's 2 summer romances with the 2 girls. S. Cotton and T. Smith. T. Smith broke my heart real bad. S. Cotton almost got me killed. Never dated another black girl after that. Things look different when the barrel of the gun is at your forehead. A lot different. And they got family members, uncles. Why don't you date black girls? Why don't you date black girls? Well, one of them almost got me killed. She ruined it for the rest of black girls. I don't blame all black girls for that. However, I'm also not sexually attracted to them. There are very beautiful black girls out here. I'm just not sexually attracted to them. So, it is what it is. Started going after white girls, Asian girls, and Mexican girls. That's just on my list. If you're a black woman, I'm sorry. Please don't take that the wrong way. I know you probably will, but won't. Let's see what's his name. Black people made me hate black people. Alright? Especially black women made me hate black women. And uncles been like, why don't you date black women? I said, because I can't find the right one. and I couldn't. It wound up making me give up because the option was I can wait till I'm 90 and find the right black woman, which means I will like have sex and die. And if I'm lucky, there may be a baby, there may not be a baby. My death wouldn't help her or the baby. But I can live my life and go wherever the good Lord takes me. I chose to live my life. I met my ex-fiance. I had 2 good years, and then she destroyed me. No more Korean girls. I would date you if you're Asian, but I'm not going to mess with any more Korean girls. However, there's a loophole in that. My ex-fiance that was Korean was only Korean genetically and biologically. Mentally, she was a white girl because her parents were white because she was adopted. That kind of did it in. But between the years, man, I'm not excusing this, just going with the truth. The more I tried to be black, the more I got rejected by blacks. I never tried to be white. I wanted to be white because one girl that I really, really liked, C. Shiflett, she was not allowed to date black people. She could have them as friends, but she couldn't date them, which destroyed me. I literally carried a love letter and put it on her car and got the fuck out of Dodge, and she caught me. But it's all good. Hopefully she's happily married. But I also didn't know that her family was that way. Alright? And since her family was that way, because she had a lot of black girlfriends, she just couldn't have a black boyfriend. Which I was hoping to be, because I really wanted to marry that girl. But I'm really glad that didn't work out. Because as time went on, she seems to be more like her family. And I don't mean that as an insult. I mean that as a lot of truth for some of the things that I've seen her post on Facebook was questionable. It's like, okay. So glad that didn't happen. But it is what it is. I'm not here to embarrass or insult anybody. But this is how I got along with wanting to hate black people because black people made me hate black people. I got a lot of, you can't hang with us because you're not really one of us. You're half white. That was not the word they used. They used the white derivative. Go watch George Jefferson talk to Mr. Bentley. I got equal amount of problems from white people because you're half in. For further reference, just go watch Auntie Bunka and All in the Family use the N-word at least more than once or twice on there. And y'all all know what the N-word is. Now, when I discovered that I was Native, because a black teacher said, you're part Native American, and I was like, no, I'm not. I'm part black and part white, because I was never really exposed to Native culture. But I was exposed to Native culture, I just didn't know it was Native culture. Like I said, my aunt and them were like, well, your grandma's Native. I was like, okay, I don't know what the fuck that means, so, as a kid, you don't know what that shit means. My great-grandmother would tell me stories about her and her brother John and moccasins. I don't know what the fuck that shit is. I know what it is now. She would say how her and John would have to run through the wilderness in moccasins and stuff. And none of my aunts or great aunts ever said shit. Because my great aunt Carrie, she didn't like me because I was honest and I didn't like her fucking dog. So after she lost her husband, she got this tiny little ankle biter And because I didn't like the dog, she didn't like me. Stupid reason to not like somebody. People just don't like pets. Especially if you don't know what that person's been through about pets. You know, never being able to get my own pets, part of the problem. Having to deal with other people's pets and their lack of responsibility, part of the problem. You know, I just don't like having to deal with pets. Especially if it's not my pet. I should not have to be responsible for your fucking pet. So, ladies, if you have pets, we can still have a relationship. But you're going to have to be doubled over in period pain and bleeding before I take your dog out. Now, I will go with you to take the dog out, but I'm not taking your damn dog out by myself. Unless we're married. Now, if we're married, yeah, I'll take your damn dog out. Now, I'm not going to lie about that. I will do whatever the fuck I can to make my wife happy. I'm not married, but if I marry a woman who has pets, I want equal time with you, not the pets. No. But, they're not my pets. Now, the thing was, you know, black people rode my ass a lot. No. I got mistreated by black people all the motherfucking time in school. All the fucking time. Especially black women. I still wanted to be black. Still wanted to be black. You couldn't tell me I wasn't black until you could. And when they finally told me that, you know, I wasn't really black, I was like, okay. Once I learned more about my native heritage, I did not use it to my benefit. I also was highly ashamed to be native. And I'm going to explain that because I was working at Kegler's, and for 3 years, this man wouldn't stop calling me chief. And that made me ashamed to be native because I had a name tag, but it wasn't a native name. It was James Williams. And he would not call me by that. And then I think it was when my grandmother on my dad's side died that I really accepted my native side. No. And I regret not being accepting of my native side. I've never had a problem with my white side outside of that one white man being racist to me for 3 fucking years straight, and the one girl who stabbed me in the back with a pencil, and the white teacher decided that my white shirt that turned this red, and she never noticed that shit while I was bleeding out in class. And then there was the white girl that called me the N-word. There was some other white people, but I can only remember maybe 5 racist incidents with white people. Alright? I can't count how many times I've had racist issues with black people. And this is where we dig deep into why black people hate each other and why they hate themselves so much. I know, highly possible, that I am a descendant of slaves. I am not ashamed of that. Them slaves went through shit so that I could be born. I am not ashamed of that. Where these people doing Indigenous erasure are highly ashamed of that. That's got nothing to do with you now. No, it's got nothing to do with you now. And if you don't learn from that shit, you will burn from that shit. So like I said, my dad's dad was black. I'm sure he is descendant of a slave. My dad's mom is native. I'm sure she either is a descendant of a slave or she may have had some slaves. My mom's dad is black and white. I'm sure he is the descendant of some slaves. Probably the byproduct of an essay. My grandmother is of native descent. As far as we know. We don't know if she's full or if she's mixed. But we also know that she was either the descendant of a slave, probably also the product of SA. In fact, we can probably say maybe all 4 of my grandparents might have been the product of SA. Problem is, I'm here now. None of my grandmothers or great-grandmothers ever told me that they were sexually assaulted. So, we can debunk that. But maybe their ancestors that had them before they got here were victims of that shit. Now, this is where shit gets complicated. this is also where I piss y'all off. It's not a fact that I'm going to piss you off. It's not a choice. But it is going to happen. See, a lot of American black people fail to understand that a bulk of us are mixed with native DNA, possibly white DNA, because slave masters weren't playing nice with sexual assault. But your colorism and your phenotype decides, where you're going to be. If you look like me back in slavery day, yeah, you might have been a house person because you were probably the master's kid, and the master didn't want to lose his kids, so he probably was like, nah, that slave's not for sale, she's not for sale, he's not for sale, she's not for sale, she's not for sale, he's not for sale. And then the white kids who know that these kids are also their family members are probably just like, yeah, you don't want to fuck with them. Why is that? Because that beautiful girl over there is my blood sister. My dad sexually assaulted our slave. He sexually assaulted that slave. He sexually assaulted that slave. And that's their kids. That kid and that kid over there, those are my brothers. They were born before I was born, but I know the story. Before my dad had my mom, he had these 5 kids. Those 3 girls, those 2 boys, they were created before my dad met my mom. Their parents were his slaves. And he may have sold their parents off into other slaveries, but he kept his kids. This shit has been proven to have happened on more than one occasion. So, because they are descendants of slaves, these black people don't want to accept their blackness. I've accepted all 3 of my heritages. Understand, I know that I'm part native. I know that I'm part black. And I know that I'm part white. I am not ashamed of that. Now, I've made videos, and I'm going to hold my own feet to the fire. I'll make sure that I say this. I hold my own feet to the fire. I have made videos when black people have done some stupid shit, and I said, I am not black today. I made videos. I'm going to be honest about this shit. I'm going to own that shit. I made videos. I made videos where white people do stupid shit, and I was like, well, I ain't got to worry about that because I am never going to be white. Ever. There's been one video that I made that I said I'm not going to be native today. And in that video, Miss Rainbird drove an RV through like downtown LA, smashing up some shit, kidnapped 2 dogs, and they caught her. The poor RV had nothing left, like literally nothing left. And she and the dogs all survived. And that day I said, you know what, I'm not going to be native today. But that was the only video. When COVID-19 hit, there was a lot of videos saying things like this make me ashamed to be black. They're on here. So you can't use them against me because I've literally just owned them. I literally just told you that I was going to own them. I literally just told you that I made those videos and that they are here. So you can't go, oh, well, Echo did this, Echo did that. Yeah, I did. They're on here. Can't use them against me because I own that shit. Now, as a child, again, I tried my hardest to be black. I tried my hardest to be accepted by black people. And it just won't go fucking happen. You know who did not know that? I didn't know that. You know who didn't give a fuck? They didn't give a fuck. You know the only time I think black people ever thought that I was actually considered part black is when I was fighting people. You're gonna get beat up by that half-breed. You're gonna get beat up by that half-breed. Don't fuck with those half-breeds. Them half-breeds can fight. Yes, we have to. Because some people like to pick on half-breeds until we rearrange their fucking dental work. Therefore, don't fuck with half-breeds. You know, and the thing was, it was just something that would just happen. And again, like I said, as a teenager, when I got to working at Kegler's, and I would beg this man not to call me chief, he would continue to call me chief. I was like, dude, that's really fucking assaulting. I'm not the descendant of a chief. Both of my Native American grandparents were females. There are no female chiefs in Native American diaspora, to my knowledge. I can be wrong, but to my knowledge, there are no Native American females that were chief. But you know what? While I have you guys, while I have the ability to use this phone and Google some shit, let's go find out. Were there any Native American female chiefs?
According to powwows.com, there, Queen Anne, leader of the Pawnee tribe of Virginia in 1656, Awashanks of the Wampanoag, who became chief of her people in the 1600s. Her signature is on the Plymouth Agreement of 1671.
Okay. So I guess Queen Anne is the only female chief. Let's see if there's more. Okay. When he stepped down as the lead of the Indian Bureau of Affairs in 1985, Mankiller became the first woman principal chief of the Cherokee Nation. Wilma Mankiller, she's very important. She's very popular right now. At the book reading of her autobiography, Mankiller, A Chief and Her People, at the Smithsonian National Museum. Alright, so this is more recent, I think, because it's dated for June 6, 2022. Alright, so let's go back and click on. No, it still took me right back to the Mankiller. So, Queen Anne. Now, let me see this thing here. Alright. So it says, the leaders and the teachers of those and the merged voices in the flowing the river of time and centuries and numbers of women are spoken with great respect by people. Some of these may be familiar to and beyond the famous Algonquin Pocahontas and Mary the Empress of Creek Nation. There is Queen Anne, the leader of the Pawnee. Y'all heard what the thing said. It's going through everything that the thing just said. What the hell is that? Oh no. I clicked on some kind of makeup shit trying to click on this X. I'm gonna spell this, y'all, because I can't pronounce that shit. I'm not entering that. Queen Aliquiuippa, who led the Seneca tribe for more than a dozen years after reportedly having received George Washington as a guest in the mid-1700s. Then there's Mary Brand, aka Molly Mohawk. Molly, it just says Molly. I don't know, because I read right. I didn't stop. Molly, Mohawk leader who acted as the intermediate between the British and the Iroquois during the American Revolution, and while honored in Canada history, her reputation also varies in the U.S. Then Mary Musgrove. I'm pretty sure I mispronounced that, so let me spell that for you. Musgrove, who thought a bit of rabble raiser. I have no idea what that means. Acts as an intermediate between the Lower Creek and James. Holy fuck knuckles, how the hell do you say that? Ogletorpe in the 1700s. Nancy Ward of the Cherokee Wolf Clan in Tennessee, who led her people to victory in Battle of Taliwa in 1755. She was 18 years old and received the title Beloved Woman. Net no Kwa. Let me spell that for y'all. Net-no, hyphen KWA, is an Ottawa Ojibwa woman who was considered a powerful leader in 1780s. Loosen, Loosen, a great, holy fuck knuckles, I cannot pronounce that shit. Chihenne hyphen Chrisicahua, Apache warrior, midwife, and spiritual leader, sister to the chief Victorio Loosen, Lozen, fought alongside Geronimo in the late 1800s. Okay, why is this not working? Seminole Betty Mae Jumper, educated in Indian boarding school for 1,000 miles from home in Florida. She was the first of the Floridian Seminole graduated high school and the first woman to serve in the Seminole leader and was elected. You can go on and on and on. It gets down to Cecil Fire, Celia, Celia, Fire Thunder of Ogallala Lakota Sioux leader, became the first woman to be elected president of Pine Ridge. All right, that might be more closer to modern day. Why is this there? Anyway, you can just go click on this right here. Native American women leaders. Powwow Bows or powwows.com. Go to powwows.com. All right. So that solves that problem right there. So apparently there were some female chiefs and shit. Now you see why I had to do that? This is the problem. The hatred that we black people have towards ourselves is outstanding. It is outstanding. Now there are other cultures where people hate themselves, but nobody does it better than us black people. And because I've gone an hour and 22 minutes over, I'm going to make a part 2. Alright? So thank you guys for watching.